Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about CrowdStrike, and I would argue things are going from bad to worse, or even more bad for this company. Here's the report from yesterday. CrowdStrike, the company that caused the biggest computer crash in history, is offering a $10 Uber Eats gift card as an apology to its clients. Now, no surprise here, the reactions were maybe just as you would have expected. People are wondering, what the heck is this even? I mean, this person says, I can't even afford a Taco Bell combo with that. And NZXT posts the delivery fee, which is more than the cost. So it seems the majority of people thought this was a joke, and it turns out it kind of was, because CrowdStrike apparently didn't even offer a $10 Uber Eats gift card to any of its clients. They say CrowdStrike did not send gift cards to customers or clients. We did send these to our teammates and partners who have been helping customers through this situation. But wait, there's more. Things arguably get even worse here, because apparently these things were getting flagged for fraud from Uber Eats. So Engadget reports when some tried to use the gift card on Uber Eats, they only saw a screen telling them that the offer had been rescinded by the issuing party. CrowdStrike told Engadget that Uber flagged it as fraud because of high usage rates. So like everything we've talked about, the articles I've shown on screen here will be dropped in the description below, and feel free to check them out if you wanted to read up more about it. This, in my opinion, is an absolute disaster for CrowdStrike. It's one disaster after another. I wouldn't want to be on their PR team. Moving on, and this is just a quick heads up that a brand new game for the Game Boy Color is up for pre-order, and this one is called Dragonyhm. I might have mispronounced that one. So the pre-order is up on modretro.com for the physical edition, and it's priced at $64 Canadian, which I think is just under $50 USD. I'll drop a link to this in the description below, and if you are on the fence about this one, there is a demo on the game out there. And it is over on Incubate Games, and the demo is 100% free to try out. Next up, I've got a quick update here for you about the OpenED. Now, we've talked about this one before. It's an open source, very low cost Sega Genesis and Mega Drive cartridge. The entire project is up on GitHub if you know how to print your own PCBs. This may be up your alley. And if you don't, Crix now has a brand new product for it. Now, this cartridge is obviously far less powerful than something like the Mega EverDrive Pro, but at the same time here, this one is arguably much more affordable. I've heard prices of about $40, but when I'm clicking on this, it's showing up as $29. In my opinion, this is a real cool product for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. And if you've got one and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link in the description below and feel free to check it out. And speaking about the Sega Genesis, next up we're talking about Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, which has been ported to the Sega Genesis. If you are curious about this one, if you wanted to see it in action, I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and feel free to check out this YouTube video. In my opinion, this is a pretty impressive feat to bring the game to the Genesis, and it does look pretty good, and the description of this video is very interesting. Next up, we're shifting from Sega to Nintendo and talking about Lego. Now, a while back, we talked about the Lego Deku Tree set that was unveiled after it had been leaked for months prior, and it was a very expensive set. And now LEGO has unveiled a Super Mario World themed LEGO set. Again, I would argue pretty expensive. This set here is retailing for $209.99 USD. Now, if $200 and Nintendo is not your thing and you still wanted me to talk about Sega, well, there's also a Shadow the Hedgehog LEGO set coming as well, and this one's considerably cheaper at $70. Next up is a quick heads up, and if you play World of Warcraft still, you might be excited about this news, you might not be, and you might not know what this news means. But apparently here, the World of Warcraft's entire development team has officially unionized. Now, as far as I know, this has been in the works for a while. It just didn't happen overnight, and there's around 500 people who are going to be now unionized. And they say this isn't an attack against our World of Warcraft leadership or something where we're like, we hate those guys. We just want to make sure that our voices are being heard, and that at some point we don't end up as numbers on a spreadsheet. Because you go up high enough and these people have never met any of us. None of the names mean anything to them. To be honest with you, with all of the layoffs, the restructurings, the skeleton crews that I've been hearing about that have been pumping out these games and working on these games, I think this may be a smart choice. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about voices being heard, next up we're talking about Apex Legends, and they just put out this big statement about their new battle pass. So they say here to our Apex community, you've spoken and we've listened. With the release of Season 22, we will restore the ability to get the premium battle pass for 950 Apex coins. We recognize that we could have handled the battle pass changes better. That's on us. Well, this is arguably a big win for Season 22, provided you support battle passes and all of that stuff. I'm kind of curious to see what happens for Season 23 if they're going to take this option away again with more communication. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Next up, this one's a quick one and might be a nice one if you're a fan of fan translations. So the English patch for Bomberman Jetter's Densetsu no Bomberman has been made available to the public. This translation project is 100% free, it's open source, and if you are curious about it and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop the links in the description below. And speaking about open source stuff, next up we're talking about ChimeraOS, which is designed to bring the console gaming experience to the PC. And ChimeraOS just got a real big new update. So at the time of filming, ChimeraOS 46 is the latest release. It uses Mesa 24.1.3 and Linux kernel 6.9.9. This update has a whole bunch of bug fixes, performance improvements, optimizations, and now works with even more hardware. They say the Steam frame limit slider will now properly function for many handheld systems. They've reduced the default resolutions on many handhelds to improve performance. They've added full support for the Orange Pi Neo, and they've added partial support for the Aya Neo Flip models. Touchscreen support is still in progress. They've also added emulation, content sharing, remote game launching, and even more. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up, we're quickly talking about OnePlus, and if you were using the loophole that allowed you to get the $100 discount without sending in an old device, it appears that OnePlus is shutting that down. So it seems that OnePlus has done some investigation here and plugged the loophole, and they say users should be aware that they will receive a separate communication from their partner to trade in their old device as part of their program. Now, I am curious here to see if this means for new purchases moving forward, or if they're going to take a look through the records and go after people who already claim the deal. And speaking about looking ahead, let's look ahead to August 6th on Steam here, where the PlayStation VR2 app has popped up and is scheduled for release. So the description says, enjoy VR games and apps on Steam with PlayStation VR2. Install PSVR2 app to use PSVR2 on your PC, set up your PSVR devices, and keep the firmware for PSVR2 headset and PSVR2 Sense controllers up to date. However, they do state in order to use this, you will need a PlayStation VR2 VR headset, obviously, and PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers. There is something new here though, the PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. If you don't have that, you can't use the whole bundle. Now they did announce the adapter back in June, and I think I just forgot about it. But anyways, here the adapter will set people back about $60 USD, so just be mindful if you plan to use PSVR2 on PC. And continuing to talk about upcoming stuff, next up we're really quickly talking about Fallout London. And this is just a heads up that Fallout London has just popped up over on GOG. It does say coming soon, and if you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link in the description below and feel free to check it out to learn more about it. And on a quick side note, Fallout London is 100% free and it's a mod for Fallout 4, and they say in order to use this one, you will need Fallout 4 and all of its DLCs or the Game of the Year edition. Next up, we're talking about Pretendo. Now, for those who may not be aware, Pretendo stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, and it's a free and open source replacement for 3DS and Wii U servers. Now, a bunch of people got banned yesterday, and Pablo MK7 says, yesterday a certain console serial number was banned from Pretendo Network, when then found out this serial number was being used by 1,300 users, which means they all got banned as a result. The most plausible explanation is that those users were using shared console files and most likely pirated from the internet in order to play online on Citra without owning a real console. So Pablo MK7 says they'd like to remind everyone to never share your console files. If you do and someone using them gets banned, you will get banned as well. Pirating those files will shortly result in a ban as they are commonly used by hackers to cheat and hide their identity. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think a lot of people are going to be upset about this, but at the same time, this is an online service and this may be a hacker's paradise if things are not buttoned up tightly. So just be mindful and be understanding. Pretendo has been developed with clean room reverse engineering, and I'm very curious to see what this means for people using Pretendo moving forward. I'm assuming there were a lot of people, 1,300 people using on Citra, and I'm curious to see how this impacts their overall user base. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.